Throughout human history, we've been fascinated by the possibility that death might not be the end, that somewhere in the shadows between our world and whatever comes next, the spirits of the departed might still linger. For centuries, these encounters were relegated to whispered stories and folklore passed down through generations. But in our modern age of cameras and technology, something extraordinary has happened. We've begun to capture what might be evidence of the supernatural on film and video, creating a digital archive of the impossible. What you're about to hear are the accounts of the most terrifying and compelling ghost videos ever recorded. These aren't Hollywood special effects or elaborate hoaxes designed for entertainment. These are real recordings captured by real people in real locations where tragedy and death have left their mark. Some have been investigated by experts and remain unexplained, while others continue to baffle researchers decades after they were first recorded. Each case represents a moment when the ordinary world seemed to crack open, revealing something that shouldn't exist according to everything we think we know about life and death. Our journey begins in the winter of 2003 at Hampton Court Palace in England. This historic royal residence, built in the early 1500s for Cardinal Thomas Wolsey and later seized by King Henry VIII, has witnessed centuries of royal drama, political intrigue, and untimely deaths. The palace is perhaps most famous for being the home where Henry's third wife, Jane Seymour, died shortly after giving birth to the future King Edward VI. It's also where his fifth wife, Catherine Howard, was held under house arrest before her execution for adultery. On 3 consecutive nights in October 2003, security guards at Hampton Court Palace were puzzled by a recurring and inexplicable problem. Fire doors in one of the exhibition areas kept opening by themselves, triggering the sophisticated alarm systems with no apparent cause. Night after night, guards would respond to the urgent alarms, only to find the heavy doors standing wide open with no explanation. There were no signs of forced entry, no evidence that anyone had been in the area, and the palace was supposed to be completely empty during these late-night hours. Frustrated by the repeated false alarms and concerned about security breaches, palace officials decided to review the CCTV footage to determine what was causing the doors to open. What they discovered on that grainy black and white security camera footage would become one of the most famous ghost videos ever recorded. The cameras had captured a tall, skeletal figure dressed in what appeared to be period clothing from centuries past. The figure, which palace staff would later nickname Skeletor due to its gaunt and otherworldly appearance, could be seen approaching the fire doors with deliberate, purposeful movements, opening them as if it belonged there, and then closing them again before disappearing from view entirely. Security guard James Fox, who first reviewed the chilling footage, later told reporters that he initially thought someone was playing an elaborate prank on the security team. But as he studied the video more carefully, he realized that none of the palace's costumed tour guides owned anything resembling the outfit worn by the mysterious figure. More disturbing still was the figure's face, which Fox described as looking distinctly inhuman and unsettling. The footage was so eerie that it made even hardened security personnel uncomfortable to watch. What makes this case particularly compelling is that even before the security footage was discovered, visitors to the palace had been reporting strange encounters in that exact same area. One visitor had actually written in the palace's guest book that she believed she had seen a ghost near those very fire doors. The CCTV footage seemed to confirm what people had been experiencing firsthand. The Hampton Court Palace ghost video was eventually released to the public and broadcast on news programs worldwide. You can view the original footage on the palace's official Facebook page and various news archives, including BBC News reports from December 2003. Moving from the halls of British royalty to the countryside of Norfolk, our next case takes us to Rainham Hall, where in 1936, photographers working for Country Life magazine captured what would become perhaps the most famous ghost photograph in history. The Brown Lady of Rainham Hall represents a unique case because, unlike many ghost sightings that rely solely on eyewitness testimony, this encounter was documented by professional photographers using professional equipment under controlled circumstances. Captain Hubert Provand and his assistant Indra Shira were at Rainham Hall on September 19, 1936, taking photographs for a magazine article about the historic estate. They had already photographed the main staircase once and were setting up their equipment for a second shot when Shira suddenly saw what he described as a vapory form gradually assuming the appearance of a woman moving down the stairs toward them. Acting with remarkable presence of mind, Shira directed Provand to quickly remove the lens cap while he triggered the camera's flash, capturing what would become one of the most analyzed photographs in paranormal history. When the photograph was developed, it revealed the unmistakable image of a translucent female figure descending the staircase, appearing to be wearing a long dress and seeming to glow with an ethereal, otherworldly light. The image was so clear and detailed that it showed what appeared to be facial features in the folds of the figure's clothing. The photograph was published in Country Life magazine on December 26, 1936, along with a detailed account of how it was taken, and later appeared in Life magazine in January 1937, bringing international attention to the case. The renowned paranormal investigator Harry Price interviewed interviewed both photographers extensively and concluded that their account was credible and that the photograph showed no signs of deliberate fakery. The brown lady is believed to be Lady Dorothy Walpole, sister of Robert Walpole, who served as Britain's first prime minister. Dorothy lived at Rainham Hall in the early 1700s until her death in 1726. According to historical accounts, she was locked in her rooms by her husband, Charles Townshend, after he discovered her affair with Lord Wharton. She remained a prisoner in her own home until her death from smallpox. Our journey through documented supernatural encounters takes a dramatic turn as we examine one of the most controversial broadcasts in television history. On Halloween night 1992, the BBC aired a program called Ghost Watch that would terrify an entire nation and demonstrate the power of realistic paranormal documentation. What made Ghost Watch so effective and so controversial was that it was presented as a live investigation of a haunted house, complete with phone-in segments from viewers and real-time paranormal activity unfolding before the cameras. The program followed a television crew investigating the alleged haunting of the early family home in Northolt, West London. Viewers watched as respected presenters Michael Parkinson, Sarah Green, Mike Smith, and Craig Charles conducted what appeared to be a genuine, real-time paranormal investigation, complete with unexplained sounds, moving objects, and increasingly disturbing supernatural phenomena. The show featured interviews with traumatized family members, expert commentary from paranormal researchers, and footage of apparent ghostly activity happening live on television. What viewers didn't know was that Ghost Watch was actually a carefully crafted piece of fiction, recorded weeks in advance but presented with such convincing realism that thousands of people believed they were watching actual paranormal events unfold live on their television screens. The program included subtle supernatural elements that became more pronounced as the show progressed, building to a climactic finale where the ghost, nicknamed Pipes by the family, seemed to take control of the television broadcast itself. The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. The BBC received over 30,000 phone calls during and after the broadcast, with many viewers reporting that they were genuinely terrified by what they had witnessed. Some people called the police, believing that the television crew was in real danger from supernatural forces. Others contacted paranormal investigators wanting to know more about the case and how they could help. The show was so convincing that many viewers continued believing it was real even after the BBC revealed it was fiction. You can watch the complete Ghost Watch program on the Internet Archive at archive.org. Details Ghost Watch. From the realm of television fiction presented as reality, we move to a case that represents the opposite, reality that seems too strange to believe. The Enfield poltergeist case, which unfolded between 1977 and 1979 in a modest council house in North London, became one of the most extensively documented paranormal investigations in history, with multiple witnesses, researchers, and even BBC television crews capturing evidence of what appeared to be genuine, supernatural activity. The case began in August 1977 when Peggy Hodgson, a single mother living with her 4 children in Enfield, was awakened by the terrifying sound of her daughters screaming in the middle of the night. 11-year-old Janet and 10-year-old Margaret claimed that their beds were shaking violently and that they could hear strange knocking sounds coming from inside the walls. What started as isolated incidents quickly escalated into what can only be described as a full-scale paranormal siege that would last for nearly 2 years. The phenomena reported at the Hodgson house were extensive and varied, defying conventional explanation. Furniture moved by itself across rooms. Objects flew through the air with tremendous force. Cold spots appeared and disappeared without warning, and most disturbing of all, strange voices were heard speaking through the children, particularly Janet. Paranormal investigators Maurice Gross and Guy Lyon Playfair were called in to document the events, and over the course of their investigation, they recorded hundreds of incidents and hours of audio featuring a mysterious voice speaking through Janet, claiming to be the spirit of a man named Bill who had died in the house years earlier. The BBC became involved in the case, sending reporter Rosalind Morris to investigate and film what was happening at the house. The resulting footage showed furniture moving without any visible cause, objects flying through the air, and the children apparently being thrown from their beds by invisible forces. You can find rare BBC footage of the Enfield poltergeist on YouTube and various documentary archives, including the original 1980 television special. While many of these videos can be explained by natural phenomena or obviously fake, some show unexplained activity that continues to puzzle investigators. These cases represent some of the most compelling visual evidence ever captured of potential supernatural activity. Whether these videos show genuine paranormal phenomena or simply reflect our deep human need to believe that death is not the end, they continue to fascinate, terrify, and challenge our understanding of reality itself. Thank you so much for watching this exploration of the world's most terrifying ghost videos. If you found these cases as fascinating and chilling as we did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more investigations into the unexplained mysteries of our world.